stars and scrubs, right? Is the idea that like you pay big at premium positions, even if that means paying big for 3 players on your roster, your 2 running backs and 1 wide receiver, or whatever it might be, some combination of running backs and wide receivers or elite tight ends, and then just filling in the blanks with players that are at max $4 or $5.
Without getting too nerdy, in terms of there's a level of replacement level, which in essence basically saying that there's a guy that isn't that much better than somebody that you could just get on the waiver wire, and so where you want is the difference makers. And so I don't mind going cheap at some of those other positions because honestly, if they don't pan out, there's going to be other guys there. It's all about finding value. I would say this. When you go into an auction, a couple of other auction tips for you is having a sort of a definite opinion on every player, right? So because this is why I say it's chess compared to checkers, because when that player comes up, you immediately need to know, am I in or am I not? Where's the value? And even if you have a cheat sheet and you're like, okay, this guy's worth $30.
Yep. And
then you sort of decide. In general, if I'm going to go above my cheat sheet by $1 or $2 or something like that, I'd rather do it on the stars, because what ends up happening is that if at some point in the auction there are people that go in the mid rounds and go way too much money. So like for example on this, what I like to do is like if I'm say you want Le'Veon Bell, okay, I'll throw out Le'Veon Bell early and say I've budgeted $50 for Le'Veon Bell. I'm making up a number here, and all of a sudden he goes for like 65. Then at least okay, now I can pivot. Now I've got that $50 to use elsewhere. But what ends up happening is, David Johnson goes and McCoy and Freeman and a couple other running backs, and you're like, oh, there's Le'Veon Bell, and you're just waiting. And then all of a sudden, somebody, 3 rounds in, and you're saving all your money, and he comes out there, and there's 2 other guys that were saving their money, or 2 other people, and suddenly Le'Veon Bell goes for $70 because he was the last stud left, and then you're out, and you're like, oh, I've got $50 left for a player, I've got no one to spend it on, and I'm out. So I prefer doing it early so like whether you're in or out, and who knows, maybe you get Le'Veon Bell for a couple bucks cheaper.